Behind the Shades.
When you're going on these dates, do you have that mindset where you're like, okay, depending on where we're going and when we're going, there's always a possibility of X?
Oh no, I mean, I already decided very much in advance that none of that is taking place. But no, I mean, I'm sorry to say, I mean, there was a, there's a time and place for everything. But I think just like with a lot of things, the decision should be made in advance. Like, or you can go and say, let's see what happens. But if you go and say, let's see what happens, I mean, generally speaking, if you're going out at 9 p.m. for drinks, like, where do you think that's going to go? Like, truly. So if you decide in advance, and, it's not my first rodeo, it's just going to be a platonic meeting. And then, sure, we can see how it goes, like, in a PG setting, but you can tell by the person too. You can tell by how the date is being set up, and there's no wrong way to do anything with the right person or the wrong person. It's all a lesson. Like, obviously, be safe, but I don't typically run into that. I don't know if it's because I've gotten older and like started to accept my position as like a more of like a female. Like, I think the woman kind of decides if it's going to go that way or not. It's the job of the man to, like, pursue action in a way, and then the woman is like, okay, yes or no. So for me, it's a clear no, but it's not in a bad way. It's just like, actually, if we're going to invest in something, it would be great to kind of like cover some of these other details before we bring in, like, perhaps like a total loss of logic because hormones take over. So it's just biological. Like, when the hormones come through, like, nobody knows what's going on anymore. And it's wonderful. It's beautiful and it's fantastic phase. But like, a lot of things probably should be discussed in advance. If you're looking for something meaningful, if you're looking for a great, couple weekends in a row and like enjoying that, that's cool too. Oxytocin, go for it. So yeah.
I always, sorry to interrupt you. I always wondered if women actually decide that before the date or during the date or afterwards. And you alluded that for many women, yourself included, that your point of view is that you're not going to do this on the first date. So is that something that like is a hard rule for yourself and maybe other women, or is it more so like, I don't want to set that expectation, so going into it, I'm going into the mindset that I am not going to be intimate to that degree with this person?
I can't speak for all women, for sure. And I can only speak for myself and what works for me, because I really value my kind of like energy and like my carefully curated energy. So bringing someone in to my space, which includes like sharing intimate moments with someone, it doesn't feel appealing to me until I've gotten to know the person. So it's for me, it's like a hard no, but it's kind of like preposterous for me to imagine that we would come back to my place. It's like absolutely preposterous. I've never even met this person. Like, in an hour, I'm going to meet him, like, in Italian. We would go like, are you serious? Like, for real? No. But, I mean, when I was really young in college, like, these kinds of things were part of being a kid and growing up, and like, it's happened. And, did it prevent relationships from taking place? No, because everybody is just kind of feeling their way around the touch tunnel. So I can't speak for every single woman. I just know that for me, it's pretty simple. Like, it's just like, there's no cards on that table. It's not a deal. It's not a game that we're playing. And it's not in a bad way. It's like, I absolutely enjoy those parts when they come up in the future. But, if we're getting to know each other, let's be a little bit more like that. But it's good to be free too. I mean, I don't want to be prescriptive. I really don't. It's just the method that I feel most comfortable with. And my method is, it works for me. Everybody's got to figure out their way.
I remember I told one of my friends, because I'm 34, And I told one of my friends, I haven't had a one night stand. And they looked at me like I just, and the reason why is one of the reasons why is because I'm just so paranoid about it going left, right? Where
Oh
it could just
no.
go totally wrong. Because many of the reasons why you mentioned, right? Like I don't really know this person. And if they come over, let's say if it goes horribly wrong, they know where I live, they know all these other things, right? I'm just a paranoid type of person. But I can respect when someone does it because I understand, because you highlighted when the hormones are raging and when you look at someone and you find them so attractive and the vibes are so good and the conversation is amazing and you just connect. Because I think we've all been there. We were like, wow, it's like I've known this person my entire life. Like, where were you when I was looking for this, right? But one thing that I did find is that, and to your point, a relationship, the way I view it is different for me. It's different for you. It's different for so many other people. But it seems we all want the same thing. We all want to be loved. We all want the companionship. We all want the respect. We all want to, as our parents would probably say, grow old together. And you know what? That's my old battle axe and that's my old man and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I know for you, I was looking at some of the things that you were doing and some of the work that you engage with. Um, how do you actually, let me take a step back. How did you get started in doing this and having this type of conversation where you wanted to make a difference in the world of dating, where sometimes it seems we all are struggling one way or another?
Hmm. So it evolved on its own. It's kind of like when you're doing something that is in alignment, it's going to lead you down paths that are further in alignment with your next phase in life. And when I had a pretty intense breakthrough during COVID, breakdown, breakthrough crisis, whatever we want to call it, during COVID, and meditation found me on my path, and it shifted completely for the first time the way I saw the world. So I was no longer interpreting my exterior as a reflection of who I was, but rather that shift of when you finally see the world from inside of yourself, not in an egotistical way, but, take care of yourself and then the world will change yourself and things will shift around you. And so when I was shifting myself, because it simply felt good and real and authentic, and finally this place of connection that I can only attribute to inner peace and self-love, and you know this incredible moment inside of me, inevitably it started impacting my friendships, my work environment, my relationships. And so also dating life was very, very deeply impacted by the way that I approached certain things. And when you recognize that we're all so sovereign behind, these beautiful bodies that we have and this mind that we have, but behind that, there's a soul that's like really, truly, perfect. Why would you treat it any differently? And so when you approach things that way, it doesn't mean that there's a hard yes or a hard no, unless, whatever, in this case, as we said before, there would be, but you just do things a little bit differently. And then you are also not as attached to outcome. You're just kind of like comfortable with what you're doing in every moment. So there's a little bit, it's not always, I mean, life doesn't become that simple, but it does become more aware. And so whatever you're doing, you're able to observe it as well. And you're able to make it work in a way that contributes towards your growth and expansion. And everything is part of your journey towards learning, and you're part of theirs. And in a way, we're all like holographic mirrors towards each other. So, and it's really real, it's not like a fake image. It's like, you're that other person that is reflecting where you're at when you're meeting with them, is also experiencing very real life situations that are in reflection of yours. And it's beautiful that you've met at this point in life. And it's beautiful. What is that there to teach you? And is it there to teach you a lesson, or is it there to teach you many lessons? And how beautiful that this came upon your path, rather than like, this person did this to me, or they're not texting me, or like, blah, 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 or like, I'm unlovable. No, relax. Like, relax. It's all there. Like, it's all there for some beautiful purpose. And the second you identify it is the second you neutralize it, and then you can move forward. So this is like such a funny way to like prepare for my date. I'm like getting myself in like this like universal state of neutrality in advance.
It's like real life therapy, right? Like,
I know. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna like self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm gonna go out there and be like, well, I mean, this is just really how I like to approach it. And it's where I'm at. So I think the most important thing is like, if this is inspiration to someone listening, awesome. If it's not, awesome, because the only thing is like, you should find what works for you. And so, yeah, I just like to come home and like feel like, I enjoyed my time, and I didn't change anything about myself during that experience, and I remained as authentic as I could, and I didn't allow things to sway me or take me off my center.
So when you mentioned the meditation piece, I know for me, I love meditation because I got into yoga. And one thing that I began to realize was that it was so calming. I was like, where is this my entire life? Because my mind was racing all the time. And it allowed me, especially when I was, I want to say as they would say single, but I was like super single, where I was like, okay, I need to meet everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just put me in a state to navigate that, because it's stressful. I found the dating experience to be time consuming. I felt the burden of trying to be original, as I mentioned earlier point, like get to know the person and plan accordingly. For yourself, when you mentioned the meditation, and I saw some of the videos that you have, what are some of the meditation techniques that worked for you that you'd like to share in hopes of it working for others as well?
Sure. And I'd like to mention the ones that are free on YouTube are very different than the ones that I'm actually carrying out a project right now, which are a little bit more, are a little less ironic. But on my website, there's 3 that you can download for free that are, that are a little bit more heart-centered and like, about self-development. And I totally understand. So my struggle actually is that it's really hard for me to combine washing my hair with dating, because it's just like, it's really annoying, because I feel like I want to have like nice hair. So it's like